When you're talking about rendering for the web, you're asking yourself the musical question, streaming or download. Streaming files are played from a remote server. You never actually download the file to your hard drive. Downloaded files are actually downloaded to your hard drive and then played from your hard drive. First of all, do we have audio or audio and video content? If we have audio only, one of our choices is MP3. MP3 is a downloadable medium. We can put the MP3 file on our website and have people download it. If we're talking about streaming, we're talking about QuickTime, Real Media, or Windows Media. Without getting into a discussion of the relative merits of QuickTime versus Real Media versus Windows Media, let me put it to you this way. If you're working for a client, you most likely have an assignment and specifications in terms of what you need to deliver. If you're trying to get the video of your band's latest performance onto your website, you have more control over the parameters. If you're choosing yourself, the best way to do it is to take a 30-second clip and render it to Windows Media, render it to QuickTime, and render it to Real Media in various quality settings. Let's use Windows Media as a case in point. We can use the default template or click the custom button. As I said, video rendering quality should be set to good unless you're using a large number of still images. On the Audio tab, constant bit rate is generally the best for audio. If you have voice only, you get these choices. Up to 20K, 22 kilohertz, mono. In general, you'll probably use the Windows Media 9.1. 9644. 9644 will give you very good sounding audio. If you want to use the professional, that's only for higher bit rates, higher quality. Let's choose the default, 6444. Video. You have choices here. Variable bit rate means that the encoder will take a look at the file as it's going through it and decide what the best bit rate for a particular section will be. Constant bit rate, it's done at the same bit rate from beginning to end regardless of the type of material that is being processed. 1 pass or 2, if you have the time, 2 pass will give you the best possible quality. In other words, the encoder looks through the file the first time, makes all its decisions as to how it's going to encode it, and then makes a second pass to do the actual encoding. In general, you want to test. Test these, test everything. Name the file so that you know, for example, that this was a constant bit rate test or a variable bit rate test, for example. If we choose constant bit rate, we can, in the bit rate tab, we can make a multiple bit rate file with Windows Media. One file will contain all of these, and depending on the specifics of the delivery system, determine the best possible stream. Another way to go with Windows Media. If we choose quality VBR, we don't have those options. Windows Media Encoder will do the best job it can. So let's render this Windows Media video. Anytime you make changes, you should save your own template because you might want to come back, and it's certainly a time saver later. Let's render this for Windows Media Video, and let's look at what the default template is. Keep the video rendering quality at good. We don't have too many high quality stills in this one. Let's keep the audio at the default, 6444 stereo. Quality VBR, keep original size, 90%. Let's leave all the defaults and let's just give it a go. Depending upon the complexity of the material, the amount of transitions, the amount of effects, the choices you've made in the encoder, Rendering times could be very short or very long. Rendering times could go into hours and days if you're talking about a feature film. As you can see, this particular render took about 1 hour and 20 minutes. I did a test. I took the first 10 seconds of this project and rendered to QuickTime, Real Media, and Windows Media. File sizes are interesting. 0.5 megabyte for the Real Media, about 1 megabyte for the Windows Media, and a whopping 309 megabytes for the QuickTime file. Every encoder treats the material differently. The QuickTime file over the course of an entire project might be larger or smaller. There's really no way to tell. It depends on the specifics of the material being encoded at the particular moment. There were virtually no transitions in the first 10 seconds. For whatever reason, QuickTime made a much larger file. Rendering for the web in Vegas. Stick to the templates for the most part, unless you're an experienced user and know what the tweaks will do. And the other side of it is test, test, test. Do test runs of little pieces of things, then compare the results before you decide what your final delivery mechanism file format will be.